A very warm welcome to all of you. I am Pradha, digital content producer at ETHRWorld International, and I will be your host for the day. So let me begin by thanking you all so much for joining us today for this exclusive webinar on the theme, Evolving Landscape of Talent Management for Hybrid Workforce, brought to you by ETHRWorld International in association with Darwinbox. With workplaces increasingly going hybrid, leaders need to reimagine the talent management strategy to ensure collaboration, engagement, and deliver a positive employee experience, thereby enabling high performance. In this session, we will discuss how organizations can overcome challenges, improve talent management, and become ready for the future with the help of technology. Today's session has been made possible by the support of our partner, Darwinbox, and I would like to thank Darwinbox and the entire team for bringing in their expertise and helping us design this session. A special thanks to all our speakers joining us today. We have with us Masli Suhali, Sales Director, APAC Darwinbox, Singapore, who will also be moderating this exclusive webinar. Masli is spearheading APAC growth for Darwinbox, the new age, agile, and integrated HR platform for enterprises. She works with clients, including more than 15 Asian unicorns like Delivery, Zalora, Paytm, Zelengo, and Tokopedia. Global business giants like Nivea, Home Credit, T-Systems in the Roma Group, and fast-growing companies like funding societies and many more. Welcome, Masli.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thanks, Pratha.
Next we have with us is Nolita Azmi, Chief People Officer and Board Director, Exiata, Malaysia. Nolita is currently the Group Chief People Officer of Exiata Group, Bharat, driving the group's people strategy in line with Exiata's vision to become the next generation of digital champions. She also serves as a non-independent, non-executive director nominee of Exiata Group Bharat on E.co Group. Welcome, Nolita.
Thank you.
Please allow me to welcome Gadis Lukman, VP of People Operations Circular Indonesia. Gadis is leading the teams of employer branding, talent acquisitions, people development, organizational development and talent management, HR operations, general affairs, HRBP at Circlo. She has also helped build the HR function to support the company's hyper growth while handling integrations with the two acquired companies in 2020 and 2021. Welcome, Gadis.
Thank you.
And we also have with us T. Su Lee, Human Resources Director, TDCX Malaysia. With more than 24 years of experience in strategic HR, Su Lee has always been a pioneer to the leadership team behind brands and what they stand for. She has a wide range of experience across insurance, media, retail, mall management, automobiles, and much more. Welcome, Su Lee.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
So now, before I take you through today's agenda, let me briefly introduce ETHRWorld International and Darwinbox. ETHRWorld is the flagship digital platform for the HR vertical of the Economic Times, the second largest widely read business newspaper and digital media platform in the world. It is an integrated media platform now present across geographies that aims to unite the world of work community and enable their learning through insights, news, interviews, trends, research, white papers, curated events and conferences, masterclasses, and workshops. The platform brings together thought leaders, industry experts, decision makers, solution providers, and enthusiasts from the HR ecosystem to initiate conversations around the innovations and latest trends impacting work, workplace, and workforce. It brings to you first-hand information and insights on anything and everything that is happening in the world of work. Darwinbox is a new age agile HRMS suite that enables enterprises to automate their day-to-day HR processes, deliver actionable insights, and build better workplaces. Over 1.3 million employees across 650 plus leading organizations such as Kotak, Arvind, Swiggy, Zydus, Vedanta, more retail, etc. love the Darwinbox experience. So this was all about ETHRWorld and Darwinbox. Now to quickly take you through the agenda for the day. We will begin today's session with a brief keynote by Masli Suhali, followed by an intriguing discussion around the theme, Evolving Landscape of Talent Management for Hybrid Workforce, which will be moderated by Masli herself. And we will close the session with a rapid live Q&A with our audience. And I would also request our attendees to start jotting down the questions as we start this webinar. There's a Q&A tab that you can see on your screen. So please feel free to submit your queries and our speakers will be happy to take that up post the session. So without any further delay, let's get started with the session and welcome Masli once again. Over to you now.
Thank you so much, Prata. So I'm just gonna like share my screen. Give me a second. Really happy to be here. Very excited to learn more from the HR leaders in the region for sure. And just a quick introduction. My name is Marceli. I'm the regional sales director for Darwinbox. And who's Darwinbox? Actually, for Darwinbox, actually, just not Prata already said quite a bit, but actually more recently, we have just debuted our entry into the Magic Quadrant of Gartner. And so very excited about that. But more excitingly, we are also the youngest, the fastest to actually be included. We're also the only one with Asian origin. So yay from Asia for global, just like Axiata, Circle, and TDCX, right? And also last but not least, we are also the #1 rated HCM on the Gartner Peer Insights by our customers. So this is some exciting news. I hope that's I hope that's fine. And also, who are our clients? A huge range actually, from the very traditional companies who are really huge, to conglomerates like JG Summit Holdings, Robinsons Bank, all the way to Adani as well. I'm sure you've heard of them as well. Indorama, MAP, Mitra Adi Perkasa is the largest Indonesian retailer as well. Also to BFSIs. The likes of Aviva, Astra Life, Robinsons Bank as well. So a lot of BFSIs for sure. And last but not least, of course, the fast growing tech unicorns as well, including Tokopedia and Faith. And so this is a little bit about Darwinbox. We have currently more than 650 clients and 1.3 million users across 90 plus countries. But more about the hot topic today, what's happening today. So actually, the thing is that things are always evolving, right, in the world, and business is always changing. And the question is, how is it impacting our talent dynamics? How is it impacting the workplace as well? So this is just a very interesting statistic that we found that we thought maybe we can like take a quick look and also discuss about it. 70% of workers apparently want flexible remote work options to continue. That's amazing. But at the same time, 65% want face-to-face time. So the question is, how do we keep a balance, right? How do we balance that? Are there things you need to change, like working policies or engagement methods? And also, how does it impact all these changes? How is it impacting the talent dynamics in the market? Remote job postings on LinkedIn during the pandemic went up 5 times. That's a lot. And so it looks like it's going to be quite a pattern as well. But one other topic that I think would like to be talking about is really about the Great Resignation. Not sure if you heard of it recently, about the Great Resignation 2021. 41% of the global workforce is thinking of changing job this year, with 46% planning to make a pivot. So I think that's another very interesting one. And really, we can't wait to actually learn more from the HR leaders, how they're tackling some of these changes. But before that, actually, we have a quick poll, if that's okay. I would like to hear also from the HR leaders in the audience, what are some of the things, what are the changes, initiatives that you're doing as well in your organization? So there'll be a window that's popping out in front of you. I hope it's okay. And you can just like pick any one of them, and then we'll quickly reveal the result right after this. So what are the top 3 focus areas to counter the Great Resignation in your organization? Is it enhancing your employee experience? Is it talent mobility? Is it individual development programs and the career mentoring? Is that one idea? How about the overall employee well-being? Or how about an objective and transparent performance management? What are some of the top 3 focus? So how are we doing, Prata, on the voting, on the polling? Are we ready to share yet? Wow. Okay, check out the results. So actually, I think the 3 HR leaders might be pretty happy to see this. Looks like a lot of them are also agreeing that overall employee well-being is actually a top priority. So that's really cool. They're really good. Thank you so much. So just one more slide, if you don't mind. Actually, just want to share what are some of the things that our clients at Darwinbox are doing. Just some case studies. The first one is actually with STP Tower, where we introduce continuous feedback for the first time to tackle this hybrid workforce. Some are working from home. We can't always, basically performance used to be just the end of the year, right? And then they're not really in touch with their goals. They're not really in touch with their competencies throughout the year. But imagine receiving and giving feedback throughout the year. So not only it mitigates recency bias, it also helps promoting cross-functional interaction. So results were pretty good. There were like some 20,000 feedback just within the first 3 months of launch. That was one interesting case study I thought I'd share. The second one is Faith. I think a lot of us know who is Faith. I have the app on my phone as well. So Faith actually introduced reward recognition during the pandemic itself. And it was very interesting because what happened was, not only because back in the days we can go to the office and say, hey, well done to my colleague, right, giving him a pat on the back. I can't do that anymore, but I want to give him recognition, I want to give him reward. So what happened was they actually managed to use this reward and recognition program to magnify the company's principles. And some 3,000 recognitions were exchanged within just the first 2 weeks. And the last one is actually introducing OKRs that became pretty popular these days, because one example was at Quick Hill. They actually wanted to have a goal that's more agile, that can change with the business. So not only that it's cascaded down, not only that it's aligned with the company goals, but also it can change according to the business needs. And adoption rates were really good, and employees were talking metrics and objectives regularly within a year. So there was just some case studies I'd like to share, but I think without further ado, really would like to get on the panelists and the panel discussion. Really want to hear from Oli, Gadis, and also Shuli after this. So maybe I can start with the first question. How about because understand that the business is always changing and all that. In response to the market changes brought on by the pandemic, how is your business landscape evolving? Are there any changes there? Maybe if Suli and Gadis would like to share, and Oli?
Sure, I'll start first. Right. So in Circlo, we are the provider for service and technology to help brands sell online, right? And in the e-commerce space, the demand is high, right? We're experiencing growth like never before. So demand is really high from the consumers, and so the business is expected to adapt with those changes and really meet the demands. And the hard part is that at some point the demand is really high, but at the other hand, on the other hand, we're really experiencing a lot of changes. We have a very diverse demographics. As a service and technology provider, we have people in the warehouse, in the fulfillment center. They need to work in the office, while the rest of the organization, they can work from home, and some needs to do hybrid. So, with the diverse demographics, we need to be able to really adapt and put like health and safety protocol in place. At the same time, quickly meet the customer demands. So that was really challenging in the beginning, right? I think fortunately for us, we've already had OKR in place, right? We've had a performance management system in a way in place. But we really need to think about how we revisit, the connection that was, as you mentioned, right? Before, you can go to the office, give your colleague a pat in the back, but now you can't do that anymore. What about the new joiners, which we onboard a lot this year, right? Hundreds of new joiners who never really met the partners, the colleagues and the peers in the office. So those are the things that, we really need to relook at as part of the changes driven by the pandemic, Marcely.
Thank you so much, Gadis. How about Oli? You have anything to add?
Sure. I really love this question because, when you ask what is the impact on the businesses, one of the things I'm a good student of Dave Urich, where it's always outside in, right? So how the business changes really impact how we manage HR internally. So that customer centricity and obsession. So in the digital and in the telco space, overlapping a little bit with Gadis's world, right? It's like during the pandemic, the importance of connectivity was so accentuated, right? So for us, whilst it was a challenge, it was also an opportunity for the business landscape. But what it calls for is that it calls for different skills. It calls for a different character perseverance in terms when you're in the office. So building on what Gadis was saying is business was still going on. We had to onboard people. People were still resigning. Even before the Great Resignation, people were still in between, right? So how do we in HR connect the dots? So from the outside, what it pushes our people was they were required to be more mobile. They were required to be more innovative, increase their digital and their analytic skills. But when you look from the inside, are we equipping our internal talents right and to the level and pace that the business has? I really feel that the pandemic has impacted, we're in 11 countries, and then you overlay it with the society and economic challenges of each market. So, from a people perspective, how do you connect all this? How do you bring and pivot all the activities that happens in the people life cycle? Maybe I can elaborate more in the next questions, but it is really transferring the challenges into opportunities with responsibilities.
It's really awesome. Thank you so much, Oli. How about Suli? Has it also impacted business?
Yeah. There is a saying that every crisis it creates opportunity, right? So for us, TDCX, as you know, we are the market well-known, industry player in BPO. We emphasize a lot on employee experience so that we can also provide our customer a great experience in every way they are doing, right? So I think the pandemic really fast-tracked the digital innovation journey that we already started in TDCX. You can see the business landscape really, there are a lot of demand from the market. So that is where we need to pivot the entire manpower arrangement. We need to also transforming the employee experience, onboard our customer virtually, right? So I think that is a significant change in terms of how we manage our workforce. As you imagine in the BPO, we are a very labor intensive workforce, right? We have close to 4,000 right now of workforce. We need to move them from the office to the home. So we need to make sure that our infrastructure, our connectivity is ever ready to equip them to be able to deliver the similar customer experience despite COVID, right? So we see a lot of opportunity. Companies are coming to us to leverage on our expertise, leverage on our digital platform to deliver the same service before COVID. So there is something that we see significant changes. The demand is high. We still need to continue to attract, recruit, and also onboard people, despite they are not in country. So that is the biggest switch for us.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. So it looks like there are a lot of various business impacts, accelerated growth, hybrid workforce, but how are these changes impacting your talent management approach? Did you make any changes there as well to adapt? Perhaps, Gadis, Oli, maybe want to share, and then Shuli as well?
I'll pick up, in the sense that the changes impacting our talent management, if you look at it from a talent management, if your talent management philosophy, it begins from talent acquisition to talent offboarding, right? Because I believe now the world is so connected that we just cannot talk about internal ecosystem. It has to go outside. So the changes that is really changing is that, and I want to bring this up about, Gartner says that one of the top 10 emerging risks is the disaggregation of corporate culture, right? And how do you connect the dots between those who never experienced the in the office organization? And I think this is where talent management comes in the sense that your attraction already changes. How do you sell your brand? And the EX was fashionable even before the pandemic. How do you sell the EX out to prospective people who will join you? So your story has to really go out. And I think therefore the communication skills of the people, not just the HR. I always call that the best brand ambassadors are the total workforce. My best ambassadors are on two legs and not social media, because that's my proxy for the culture experience. But also in terms, if you have hyper programs, right, high potential programs, how do you ensure that you don't disconnect them? Because some of the interventions are experiential. I know a lot of the HR people here, that we have this experiential case building, you work in groups. It's very different. So when do you bring the hybrid? And when we are operating in 11 countries, different countries have different pace of the great reopening because of the vaccine. So it's very challenging. And I think what it calls for is a much more nuanced hyper-personalization. Which of your population is more impacted? And it's no longer like one solves everything. You have to complement either at the country level or at the regional level or group level. How do you do that? So for us, when I look at the people life cycle, there's so much that's impacted our EVP. And I think one of the biggest expectation of talent management is our acknowledgement. How does the employee well-being goes not just from, are you well today? Are you mentally stable? It goes beyond that. Well-being is really how do we provide opportunities for our talents to be able to explore their personal desires as well as professional achievements. So for us, we talk about reinventing or repivoting, finessing a bit our EVPs and our culture approach of the winning approach. I think I'll stop there for now because it's one of those things I feel so passionate about.
Oh, that's really awesome. How about Gadis?
Yeah,
So
I think
yeah.
Yeah, I think Oli brought up a very good point. And to add to that, right? Nowadays, people don't really see, they look at how you, manage performance. They look at how you provide great learning and development. But on top of that, right, they look at how you treat the employees during this crisis. Right, when there was a peak in COVID cases, the second wave, right? And there was a scarcity of oxygen, for example. Employees really assess you based on that, right? Do you provide care for the employees? What if the employees got affected? So all the protocols and all the treatment, that makes a great difference. And so that is also part of the things that were assessed by employees who are not who are outside of your organization, who are rethinking, who are part of the Great Resignation, thinking of, should I change jobs because I don't feel greatly treated by my current employer, and I'm assessing outside and who gave the best treatment out there. And so that's one of the few things that we really need to look at, that forces us to rethink about talent management as well, about the well-being, not only just having a well-being program or a well-being allowance, but beyond that, how you really treat your employees in times of crisis. That's how I see it, Marceli.
Oh, thank you so much. So I don't know what it's got to do with all of us being ladies, but we seem to care a lot about the well-being of the employees, being nurturing maybe. So perhaps Suli, you have anything to add as well on that?
Yeah, I think the major change is really, the fundamental of the talent management will stay there, the principle, right? But it's the way how you manage your talent, how you're going to engage your talent. Just like Oli say, how you going to attract your talent, right? You're not going to do the career fair face to face now. You can't go to the campus to do, promote your branding now, Everything need to be doing virtually, right? So all of us have to pick up this skill, right? So how are we enable our people able to also engage our people virtually? That is also something that we see the major change, right? Everyone need to be flexible, agile, and adapt into the changes. You must learn the skill. How are you going to engage and manage your talent virtually by seeing the screen in front of you? And how do you physically social distancing, but you're still able to emotionally, mentally connect with them? I think that is the key, right? Just like Gadis and Odi say, well-being, not just about, I launch a program, I make sure you exercise every day to make sure you are fit, It is mentally, how are we going to build the toughness, the mental strength in our people so that they can, raise this pandemic together with us for the future, right? As our company is still growing aggressively. So I think one of the focus that we see in the talent management is that, from a conventional how you manage your talent, we very much focus into a total well-being of the workforce. And also we need to equip our people manager, right, with a skill set. How are you going to digitally connect with your people? Make sure they are still feeling that you are emotionally connected with them. So I think that is something that we see a major change, right? Yeah.
Looks like digital transformation really got accelerated as well then with the pandemic. Well, actually, this next question is for Ollie. What do you think are some of the shifts in expectations from employee from a talent management standpoint? And how are you catering to the needs of the hybrid workforce that way?
Marsali, first, I want to mention that the shifts and the expectations has gone up tremendously. Not just how and what is also very high, right? So I think I was reading one of the articles that says, are the HR people ready for, a long time HR say, I want to be in the table, I want to be at the table. Now you're on the table, you can own the table. Like, how do you deliver this transformation of the people equation, right? So, I mean, some of the points that we bring up about how do we change the talent management is that their expectations is against the new world demands, right? We talked about digital and analytics. And let's not just talk about the people who are specialists, your chief data science or what, but how do we make it a common skill such that all our people are digitally and analytically savvy? So one of the things that we have launched is what we call the data citizen. The expectation that when you look at Axiata, this group of companies, that we really embody that as our one of our biggest capabilities. So I think that's really key. So people look for that. And the other thing they look for these days, a talent expectation, is also, I believe that what it has enunciated a lot during the pandemic is collaboration and people who you trust in the same circle. And I believe peer learning is very strong. So in Axiata, we have this thing called the Axiata Certified Experts, ACE, who really we try and promote them in their capability in the digital, in the AI, in the machine learning. So they begin associates and then they become a next level core member, gold member, because one of the value propositions that our talent is looking is that technical and functional capability. A lot of the programs, a lot of work has gone into building future leaders, but are the future leaders of tomorrow looking like the same leaders today? So I think it challenges us in talent management when we do succession management with this pace of changes. What is the persona of the people that we identify in our succession management principles in HR? We go by the principles and all this thing. It's almost like doing design thinking. Do you have a persona of the role 5 years? Because we say ready now, ready later, ready 5 years. But do we change the persona and the capability and the traits? So the talent management for me today comes in the interventions and also mentioning for the succession management, because everybody looks for growth. So do we equip our people for the right growth path, Marceli? So that's what I would say in terms of, that's the talent management, the changes, and the complexity comes because it's hybrid, right? So that's where the nuance management and supplementary programs and interventions must come in.
Wow. And also when you said that the expectations from employees actually skyrocketed, I was like, so are they expecting a lot more than, like, everything? They want better benefits, they're comparing to their peers. Is that what you're saying as well? Even pay package, everything, right? They will be comparing?
Absolutely. And I think this leads up to the Great Resignation conversation, right? And I've got some thoughts on that. Would you like me to take that on?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, definitely.
We have three sort of we call this a triple core strategy: the digital telco, the pure digital and analytics, and our infrastructure. The company that I'm a director on is E.co, which is the tower, right? I mean, you see, the basic fundamentals must be addressed. We need to have the towers to have the services, right? So really the importance of it and the acceleration and the pace in different countries. So that's one element. So what happens is the resignation, I feel, in roles such as the one in the digital and analytics, it's the highest for us because everybody wants to master the digital and the analytics capability. So it goes as high up as 20%. Whereas in a much more traditional, maybe telco, we have the lowest. But also there is another layering, right? For us, the different countries where the great return has not happened at pace, people are going to be a bit more cautious. And in the countries that we operate, because these are frontier companies, livelihood is still important. So the great resignation is, one is the talent management programs we talked about, I feel that we need to do, but also a lot of engagement. And this is where I call upon the people managers, and I tell these people, it's not HR's work, my dear friends and colleagues, it's your work. You keep your people engaged. You know best what they need on a daily basis. So, you know, so the thing that I would say to my HR colleagues is to stand up and say, the people managers and the other leaders are responsible. But the point I wanted to bring here, it was, there is now elements of the great return. The people that thought that the grass is greener on the other side has been calling back. You know, the persuasion of the grass is greener and you're bored staying at home. You're bored of seeing the same people on the virtual screen, right? You say, okay, maybe a new company will give me a little bit more of pizzazz. And then I see new faces. So it's not at that high pace, but it's very interesting where the shift of the conversation is, I'd like to come back. It's not as sexy. So I think this is where now I think the offboarding is just as important as the onboarding.
Wow, you're right.
So I think that was, I wanted to share because I was so excited when one of my colleagues was saying, oh, Oli, I have so many people wanting to come back. And this is where organizational culture really plays a part, that no matter if they leave for higher salary and things like that, because the pyramid is so much, you want people to regret leaving you, but yet you understand opportunities makes them go away. And I think that's the equation we have to build in the ecosystem of talents that we want, not just in our company, but beyond.
Wow, that's really amazing. Today actually is the first time I learned, Oli, about the great return, but I think that makes absolute sense. I think oftentimes we actually forgot to do a very nice offboarding, right? I think you're totally right, because there lives a really lasting impression of, you know, what you're like and all that. And I really like that your approaches are so specific. Like you think of like different approaches for even different countries and different groups. So thank you so much for sharing. The next question actually is for Gadis. Is the e-commerce sector has been seeing tremendous demand, and I'm sure you're having accelerated growth as well. So I was wondering, what are some of the top focus areas from a talent standpoint to enable agility and actually fuel the growth as well?
Thank you so much. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, right, we've experienced growth like never before in the pandemic, and even with all the merger and acquisition of corporate actions that we do, it's even greater, right? So at the same time, we need to adapt with all the changes driven by the pandemic, and at the same time, we need to meet these customer demands so that we can help more and more brands to sell online, because the pandemic forces them to do so. And we see that I think there are a few things that help us into reshaping everything, right? Number one is always the business, always business focus. What do the business needs, and how we as the HR support accordingly. So really see what's needed by the business at the same time. And there are those two areas that I think really helped us. I think different from the other companies here, probably Circlo is still in the infant period. We're still in that early phase in our journey in terms of talent management, because it's pretty much just been built like the past 2 years, right? So the area that we really look at is the performance management and how to combine that with well-being. So you want to be performance driven, you want to be performance focused, but you don't forget the mental health, the emotional health of the employees, the physical health of the employees. So we really want to double down that. It's not easy because you will always be seen as you only care about the results, right? You only care about the performance. So combining the two or balancing the two was one of the I think the challenges that we face, right? But those two things are the thing when we focus on those two things, it really helped us to become agile and really be able to meet the demands, to meet the targets that we have today.
Oh, awesome. So you're saying you definitely need a balance between taking care of them at the same time making them perform. So just
Yes.
curious as well then, what are some of the initiatives that you're doing to make sure that they feel like they're being taken care of as well? What are some ideas there, perhaps if you can share?
It's not novel what we do, but we really redefine the ways we connect with each other, right? When I said people don't meet up every day or even hardly meet with each other, how we foster the feeling of care among employees. So we really encourage the people managers to go out there. If you've done one-on-ones with your subordinates, you do that more. You get to understand their emotional health. You get to understand what they're going through. So we encourage a lot of our leaders to do that, right? We invest like in bonding sessions. We invest in performance management system as well. So your performance is tracked, but at the same time we do have small group discussions about mental health. We have a small group discussion about how we do stress management and all that. So that's pretty much the things that we do during this pandemic, to make sure that people feel heard, people feel like they know who to talk to, they can go somewhere and get their concerns heard, and that's really one of just the small little things that matter, I would say.
Oh, definitely. Small things always matters. Thanks so much, guys. But how about since the hot topic these days as well, the Great Resignation and also Great Return, and so was wondering then for that also are there any initiatives that Circlo is doing to basically mitigate it?
It's really happening, I think, in even in our company, right? Comparing the data from 2021 to 2022. It's different. It's definitely going significantly higher, the Great Resignation in our company. And I think it's happening all around Asia as well. So there's no other formula, but really need to, I think what we are trying to do here is that we really want to go to the details, right? This is where data plays a significant role. We really want to understand what people deem is important. And probably, we need to relook at differently. Before, looking at the exit interviews is important, but we really want to dig deeper. That's why we do a lot of like FGDs. We do a lot of interviews as well, one-on-one interviews, to really understand what is it that people are looking for. Some are just looking at the grass on the other side, it's greener. Some are many different. So I think the bottom line that I want to share here is that we want to invest in the data, right? We want to really understand the gist of it, what people think matters. Have we seen it clearly, and have we seen it right before? So that's one of the areas that we're doing right now to prevent, so that we can formulate a better talent management system for the employees.
Wow, absolutely. Thank you so much. So you're definitely envisaging data-driven insights to actually make decisions later. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. And I think the next question is for Shuli. Would like to actually ask you, in your view, I think again it's pretty similar, right? How should talent management be approached to ensure a holistic growth? So not just work and so what else from a performance evaluation standpoint that your approach will be like?
Yeah, I heard a lot of good points from Oli and also Gadis, right? I also, take this data insight as significantly important in our organization. So we already have a platform. We actually fast track the development of the platform to push forward a lot of data insight, right? So what we see, the major changes is that, we are not going to manage your performance on a yearly basis anymore. We want to constantly check in terms of how are you doing. We have this tool that equip the people to have the ongoing conversation to check in, how are you doing? What kind of support you needed, right? So in terms of engaging the talent talent to make sure that, we empower our talent to hold their career inspiration, right? We wanted to know from you, what do you want to achieve in the next 1 year and next quarter? And there is an ongoing conversation. We encourage our people manager to engage, and we also provide the tools for the manager to talk to this talent ongoing basis. Yeah, so there is something that we see the major change, whereby we don't talk about the exit interview anymore. We want to do a retention interview, right? We wanted to hear from you, what will actually push you, outside the door of our company, and what will keep you stay in our organization. What do you want to achieve, in your role here, or do you have any career inspiration in the short term and the long term? That is where we also open out the door for open mentoring, right? We let the talent decide who will be the best mentor you want to and you want to learn from. That is something that we want to empower people to own their career in their hand. We also want to empower a people manager, right, to engage. I truly agree with Oli, right? HR is not here to do engagement for the entire organization. We need to collaborate with our people manager because they know their people better, right? We empower them, give them a tool. So we actually launched a fresh check-in section, to test the weather, to hear from the employer, are you being recognized during the last quarter of the month? Are you feeling burnt out? We check on their emotionally. We also check whether they have enough recognition from the manager, and also want to get the data inside of what will make our talent stay. What do you want to achieve in your career? So all this data that we gather, right, we will actually work together, partnering with the business to come up with the journey for the talent. So this, I will see this is a major change in terms of how we manage talent in our organization right now. Yeah, everyone need to be, hold their career, own their career, and people manager need to be accountable for their people development in terms of talent management, right? Not just push everything to the HR. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much, Lee, for sharing. So basically, talent management is a lot more than just performance, right? I think that's I think the gist of what a lot of us are saying today.
Correct.
If you have a really diverse workforce in multiple locations, how do you bring them together and get them engaged as well? I would really like to learn more about that.
Surprisingly, right, we have a very young workforce. I want to share this statistic, right? Before COVID, we are doing our onboarding in the hotel, nice food, you are able to do the games together because we have a very diverse workforce. We onboard people, they are coming from a different country, Southeast Asia, Greater China. We have people coming from, Europe and US, right? So we have about more than 40 nationality in our organization. So then, we do employee satisfaction, throughout their, as a new hire, your employee experience, right? Before COVID, we were hitting about 90, yeah? So the employee satisfaction of the onboarding experience. But then, when COVID hit, right, we cannot do it face-to-face physically anymore. We move it to virtual onboarding experience. So we actually managed to bring out the employee satisfaction to 99. So I was like, wow, why is it they, we give you a hotel, nice food, you're able to meet face to face, we only achieve 90, despite 90 is still a very good number, right? But then, doing the virtual onboarding, right, be able to achieve, the satisfaction level even higher. And also our employee engagement survey, right, we call it employee staff satisfaction survey. So we are achieving 89 last year, but in fact, in the COVID situation, our actually engagement score increased. So I think we have a very young workforce. That's why they are very digitally savvy. And also we actually doing a lot of programs to make sure that they feel safe and then they are being supported. And I think it's more important making sure that all of them working from home, they also feel the care from us, right, as an employer to take care of their total well-being. So I think that contribute into a better score despite pandemic. People are not able to meet face-to-face.
Wow, I think this is some really amazing sharing as well. I think really lots to learn today. I think the last question before we open for Q&A, actually, would like to know, what are some of the initiatives or new age talent management practices you have adopted or you're adopting to cater to the hybrid workforce? Perhaps maybe Oli can start first again.
Sure. I think there's so many that we've spoken about a little bit. Maybe the two that I will close with is just under a banner that covers many things, is our Axiata Fast Forward, which is actually our virtual university, our applied university that we had dreamt to do before. So with this talent management challenge, and the intervention is key, we really accelerated the curation of whether it's from Coursera, it's from LinkedIn, you name it, we're on it, and partnerships with Microsoft and Google to do more things in the digital space, right? So under this applied university, we have 7 academies, which is the technology, digital, enterprise, customer experience, business, ways of working, which covers everything. Because with that, we're really trying to cater to the employees who want bite-sized learning. Just like I think most of you, and I can see here all of you are so young, they want things at their demand, at their will, and in bites and sizes that they want. So I really feel that the Axiata Fast Forward is really something that will deliver. You want something, I can find something, and we will complement it with some live trainings or learnings rather, right? So I think interventions is key, and that is complemented with what Siuli put about. It's this informal coaching, it's like these daily experiences. And the other one that I'm extremely proud of what we're doing that's addressing the talent management is called Axiata Cares. And why I'm very proud about it, it covers, we call it the petals. One is your normal physical, which is your weight and everything else, right? Your stress level and the well-being, the total well-being. The second one we talk about is about the mental well-being, which I wanted to put it up really as a petal that we continue to work and to take away the stigma. And where, and this really got me when my daughter was still working in New York. She says, "Oh, Mom, I'm off day today. It's my mental well-being day." Wow, I really love it. And one of our subsidiaries has actually incorporated this as one of their leave. They don't call it leave, they call, well-being time off, because it doesn't threaten as if somebody's being lazy, taking too much leave or something. It's not yet group-wide, but I thought it's a precursor to what it is. Then we talk about safety. We talk about all the hygiene factor, but I think psychological safety is very key. In a very Asian context, people are still, a bit concerned about when they speak up, how they speak up, who do they speak up to. So how do we make it that we build confidence for people to talk about? The fourth one is about growth. And growth for me is both personal and professional. I'd like to give people life skills in the curation and our applied thing. How to eat, how to dress, fun things apart from how to be a great accountant, right? I mean, those are things that are important, but a holistic well-being. The other two that I want to take time, which is very key for me, is actually in terms of our community, and the other one is environment. I find that my talent attraction value proposition is enhanced when the organization is able to articulate, Ollie, what is your philosophy in diversity, equity, and inclusion? And I feel for an organization like us, which we have 44 nationalities, diversity is a given. But do we give the equity, the fair access to people? And do we include the right people to be at the top table? So for me, that DEI is so key. It goes beyond a gender for us. Our employee resource group goes by gender, by generations, by ethnicities, and by abilities. We are in early days, but the swell of galvanizing the people. So the people, when you talk about talent management, the articulation of having a purpose is very strong. And the other one now is ESG. Oh my God, it's like, what role are we playing in the society? What role is Axiata playing in the society? So it's a narrative that our business managers and our people would have to be able to have, but not just a narrative, but our actions. So to me, this is the two things that I think is resonating well with our talents in terms of where is my purpose, apart from growing in the career, how am I growing in the community? So that's one of my sharings about how do we engage and excite the talents.
Thanks so much, Ollie. How about Gadis? Do you have anything else to share as well?
Yeah, I think Ollie has shared great, things before. So what I wanted to add is not really new age. In fact, it's a tale as old as time, right? But the tool we've been using is paying it forward. So I kind of work with the senior levels leaders, making sure, they do, one-on-ones very humane. You ask about how you've been, how your family has been, and all the part surrounding mental health, psychological safety, emotional health, and really making sure that they do it to their subordinates, and making sure the subordinates do the same. And it really works in a way, because it's trickling down, believe it or not. Like, they see how their supervisor treats them, and they kind of want to extend it to their teams as well. So we've seen it happening in the company. Again, this is not new age, but this is one piece of advice that we've seen working, and hopefully can work in your organization too.
Thank you so much, Yadis. How about you, Suli? Do you also have anything to add on this?
I think Oli and Gadis has share all, but I think what we need to really instill into how we manage talent management, right? We talk about mindfulness, right? We talk about compassionate way of doing your job now. Because when you are doing all this talent management, all the tools that you're using, right? Can we, because we are not meeting face to face, can we instill the emotional touch, like I say right earlier, is to make sure that we are compassionate enough to understand the challenges they are facing at work, not just at work, but personally, right? At home, everyone is locked down at home. You have young kids to take care, and then you have certain things you need to take care of from the personal side, right? So what we actually implement is that we will have a lot of courses to make sure that our managers managing the workforce in a more compassionate way, and be a little bit of sensitiveness, when how you manage your workforce, not just measure their performance. Sometimes you need to really show care, right? Because the motivate workforce will give you a great result, right? So how to actually motivate our workforce is really to show the care, to engage them better, to know that I'm not just seeing the result, but I also care about you, your well-being at home, so that you also able to carry out your work. And then what we do differently is also we cannot do engagement face to face now. So how we show care is that, example, we send a massage gun to our people, because long period of time you're actually sitting down in front of the screen. It's quite painful experience, right? So then we send sometimes some of the program that we run, we also have a respective department engagement activity. They send some lunch, while they're eating lunch together, talk about personal, not about work, right? So then all this engagement and the care, I see that can engage our workforce better. It also will help us to keep them longer into our workforce. Yeah.
Well, I really absolutely love how we end up talking about caring, compassion, mindfulness today as well. That's something that I think, sometimes we can overlook, right? Because we're always thinking about performance. And I think, Suli, your ability to bring that emotions via digital method, I think is how you got like such high scores during the pandemic, right? You managed to get like higher even I think you're able to still bring that emotions even if not meeting face to face. I think that's really, really amazing. Thank you so much. There are a couple of Q&As though that I think people are very, very curious about. If that's okay, just want to maybe quickly run through them. And the first one actually is very interesting. We hear about the Great Resignation mainly from the US and Western Europe. So is this real in Asia? So, and especially in your respective countries, and what is unique about this Asia's Great Resignation? Any different from US and Europe or not? Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe Gadis maybe can say first as well, because I think you were saying that, no, it's real, right?
Yeah, I think it's real, and probably different from the US. I think the workforce is different. The level of maturity, the level of skills. It's not really unique, but people really think about. I think people who can afford it. There are a lot of the workforce, especially in Indonesia, they just don't have the options. But those who have the options, they rethink about everything. They rethink about how the employee should treat them, how they want to be treated, how they want to be, how the employee should give them space for them to take care of their family and everything. So I think that part is no different from what we see in Europe and the US.
What do Oli and Suli think? This is real also in Asia?
Very real. And then I think there's subtle differences. And I think what Gadi said is very right. The affordability of the person and also in the economy, because I can see that in some economies, like I said, where the great return is very, very slow, so is the resignation because there are not enough opportunities, right? So it's between life and livelihood always comes up still. And I think that's where the Asian nuances come in. It's quite interesting when we do an analysis of the reason, because Asians quite polite, right? So they just say career opportunities. So then I'm like saying, well, that's not enough, you know? What do they mean by career opportunities, right? So I think we need a little bit more time to really understand the data, but the numbers are there in some pockets. It is real. Unfortunately, it is real.
So you're saying it is real, but perhaps we don't know enough because they're so polite. So they didn't tell us.
You know, it's like not many have said, I want a better quality of life. I've had people in the conversations and says, I love the company. It's just that we are staffed too lean and I want time to go back at 5 o'clock and put my kids to bed at 6. You have to respect those conversations. That one, no matter of career enhancements, unless you say, look, the model of working is changing now, right? People take gig workers. People are beginning to understand part-timers are actually of value. So I think if anything else, what we didn't talk about on the talent management is on the attraction, that the model of employments will change.
Thank you so much. Wow. And how about how do you think you're relooking at the learning and development space in light of hybrid workforce, hybrid ways of working? And any input there, perhaps, Yuli?
Yeah, I think learning and development landscape, you really see the significant changes, right? When you look at from the trainer perspective, right? From a face-to-face, right? You really need to pivot yourself into digitally, right? How are you going to engage, the learner via digital platform? I think in our organization, right, we already have the landscape of moving the learning and development into your own hand, right? You own your career, you own your development, and we actually launched the LinkedIn Learning last year. We also have our in-house LMS that integrate with our success factor. So that is where everyone can learn everywhere and you choose a topic that you like. You want a short courses, a long courses, or you want a continuously program as well. You can actually pick up from the system itself and then you own your own learning. Whatever skill that you want to pick up, you'll be able to find it in our platform. So I see that, it's not conventionally, I organize a classroom training for you. Everyone manager need to nominate people, coming to this training anymore, right? So you can choose the topic you want to attend anytime, anywhere you are. You just log in into the platform, you pick up the learning yourself. So this is something that I see the major change in the learning and development world. Yeah.
Thanks, Yuli. Actually, another one that's targeted just for you, so you have to answer. So this question is for Yuli. What are the program you did to make your employees feel so supported? Because your staff satisfaction survey is really amazing.
I guess I think that effort really coming from our employee engagement team, right? We are doing a lot of activity on the company-wide basis. So what we do is that, we have 3,009 to 4,000 workforce. It's impossible for us to hold and drive the engagement across the organization, right? So we plan all these engagement ambassador into the respective program. So we have a different program to manage in our organization, right? So these people, our ambassador on the program itself, they drive their own engagement. So in terms of tackling the engagement, how to connect with them better, we run a lot of competition. Example, a cooking competition, and you post your video into our internal, platform, which is equivalent to Facebook. We have our TD community, whereby we run a lot of communication, we drive a lot of activity. We ask people to post all their video into the platform itself to drive, So I think that is something we do differently on a company-wide basis. Like I shared earlier, we actually deliver 3,009 massage can to the employee at their doorstep, right? So this is something that we do, we drive. And also respective program, they will come out in their own employee engagement program, they drive at the program level. So this collaboration together program, it will build out into a company level, right? Not just that, on a quarterly basis, we have this EVP Connect, whereby our EVP will share the company direction, what is a new program coming on board, allow people to ask questions, then we tackle it differently. And the other thing is the fresh engagement survey that we launch on the weekly basis. We want to hear from them, we tackle the issue proactively. So I think that all join together, contribute to drive our score.
Thanks so much, Julie. Prata, I know we're at 12 now. Can we have one last question before the final
Yeah,
call?
sure. Please
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
That's just I know there's a lot of questions. I'm sorry, I don't think we can have to answer everything, but maybe I'll just pick one or two more. This one I think is quite interesting. So I think the HR leaders also talk about it a little bit, how they empower people manager to do a lot, and then they connect. HR not supposed to be everything, right? But what are the things that we can do to continue supporting them, because they themselves may feel burnt out or less motivated, and as they are the pool of people who need to drive the results. So what are some of the things you're doing that it could be quite interesting?
Maybe I can take this question. I think we never forget about our people managers. Yeah, even we talk about how we manage our talent. People manager need to own it, to drive the engagement. And this group of people, our the employee is our soldier, right? And this group of people, our captain. They actually lead the people, and then they drive the direction of the organization. So that would be under the HR care, right? So we actually take care of our people manager. We give them a lot of program, and we have a lot harder, together with people manager. We equip them with the skill and the knowledge how to drive the engagement. We give them some guidance, a lot of coaching happening at the higher level. So that is where we keep the people manager engaged, and we also care about them. We also have a people manager specific program that we drive and make sure they are well taken care of. So we want to equip them with the skill, and also make sure that they also mentally ready. They are equipped with the skill how to digitally connect with their people. Yeah, so that is where happening in our organization. And also from the top, our EP constantly engage with our people manager. So that is something that we do to keep the people manager equipped with the skill, engaged, motivated, so they can lead our people, make sure they are also heading to the same direction.
Thanks so much, Julie. Gadis and Oli, have anything to add there?
No, I think pretty much the same, like what
every-
Julie has said. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much. I thought this one is quite relevant as well, because it's really happening. The borders are opening up. People are traveling, gonna be soon. Hey, Norlida, Oli, we can meet each other soon. Actually, I can fly to KL. Apparently, I can meet Julie as well. But I can't meet Gadis yet. So it is happening. Things are opening up, and people are gonna go back sooner or later. So with employees working from home for more than a year, well, actually 2 years, right? They're very accustomed, to this new way of working. They don't have to travel. So, but sooner or later, they might have to go back, right? So what do you think are some of the challenges to get them back engaged, and maybe even like half a week in office, half a week home, or full-time in office, or hybrid? But what are some of the challenges? Because I think they've been very, very used to working from home already for 2 years. What are some of the initiatives that you're planning to do to tackle this?
I'll start a little bit. I came from one organization where hybrid working was already the way of life. So, I came from a multinational bank that where 5 o'clock on Friday or 3 o'clock on Friday, the EGM will go and close the lights, everybody go home. At that time, people didn't want to go home, right? Because we put so much into work in the office. So now it's the flip side. So I do think that we have to, and I've been quite lucky that this policy has been approved for Axiata. So where we are really asking them to own how you want to spend the time, because we have seen, at least for our function, I mean, at corporate center where we don't have frontliners, it has not compromised deliveries. But for those, of course, for us that have frontliners, we have to do more like what Julie is talking about. Is really, who needs to go to the office, right? When we did a survey to bring back to the office, they wanted this flexibility. They also wanted to be sure that the standards of hygiene in the office is very high. We have a young population, right, which therefore still have young children. And therefore their concern is sometimes beyond themselves. And when you do hybrid, do you allow half day or not half day? So you can't get too fussy. I think the way that the challenges we feel is people are very comfortable. So you have to be able to give and take. When you say 30%, if you are 20%, who cares, right? It still gets done. It will require, I believe, flexibility on the organization. As long as you're delivering for the organization, that will be the biggest attraction, I think. But the challenge is there. Well, one of my bosses was saying, how do we get the blood churning again where people wants to rush to go to work? I think right now for me, what we are hearing is the health concern. When you're taking the train, when in the office, does the air filter really goes to the right standards? Basic things will attract people back. And then it will just be the normal engagements. That's my take.
Thank you so much, Ollie. How about Gadis?
Yeah, I think it's really making work interesting again. Now, actually, it's not that hard. People are we open the office with certain capacity, and people are rushing to go back to the office. So they feel the need to meet with each other. So I think that part we need to highlight that and attract people to really connect with each other. There's no other way of doing it but really helping the people managers to convince the team to do that. At least be in the office when it's needed, where the connection really happens, when you exchange problems, when you brainstorm. Once they get that, and once they do that, people will feel, it's different. Yeah, I miss this. And we really need, I think you will get that going. But the first part, you just need to entice people to go back in. I think, yeah, that's my take.
Thank you so much. Silly, have anything to add?
No, I think Oli and Gadis pretty much cover all, right? I think we just need to make sure that, we communicate to them. We are able to provide a safe, environment for them to work. And for us, right, we are not going to 100% go back to the office. I think moving forward, the future direction, it will be still on the hybrid model. Yeah. Surprisingly, a very young workforce, right? They actually can't wait to go back to the office. But we still need to make sure that, it will be safe for them to return to work. So that is the direction we are going forward. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Suli. Thank you so much, actually, Oli, Gadis, and Suli. I really wish we have one more hour. I think our conversations are so interesting. But Pratha, do we just have to? We have one more poll to do, just a quick one. We just want to have a feel from the audience, as well, the HR leaders in the audience, and then we'd like to do a closing. So Pratha, if you want to launch the poll. Sure. So actually, just would like to have a feel. So really appreciate if you could participate as well. What are some of the new age talent management approaches? That you're actually thinking of doing as well. Just want to know what what are some of the initiatives in the market which are popular. If one is check-ins or continuous feedback, or is it multi-stakeholder? Is it OKR? Is it performance journals, or any of this? I'm just trying to make a guess. I'm just like thinking, why they're not putting the well-being part now in part of the survey question? The answer, right? It should be some of them could be like a mindfulness lesson or something. Could be, right, part of an approach as well. Yeah, let me know when we're ready. But really, while waiting, just really want to thank everyone. Looks like continuous feedback. I think that's really quite in line with what we've been talking about as well. I think a lot of us keep talking about engagement, feedback, listening to them, engaging them. So I think looks like the audience feels the same way as well. And I think today we learned so much from the three HR leaders. Thank you so much, and thank you again for for the time, for the really precious opportunity. I have so much to learn. And Pratha, over to you actually to end the session.
Thank you so much for such an insightful interaction. I think it was a seamless conversation, as you rightly mentioned. And of course, employee well-being and continuous feedback comes first. So from highlighting the importance of connectivity, two-way communication, physical and mental well-being, doubling down on healthcare initiatives and paying attention to the virtual onboarding process, offboarding process, and understanding the opportunities and connections and making offboarding as seamless as possible, which to our surprise ultimately drive the great return. So it is absolutely true that we live in a highly volatile environment that is here to stay even in the years to follow. And the right strategies to build, nurture, and empower talent is exactly what organizations need the most right now to thrive and survive under prevailing circumstances. And the attrition rates, as we know, are touching the roof and over and above a major talent crunch, which is also a major concern for organizations. And these strategies, I believe, will inspire leaders and organizations move past those challenges and win the talent war in 2022 and the following years, of course. So thank you so much again for these wonderful insights. And once again, and I would also like to thank our partner Darwinbox again for their constant support in making this session seamless as possible, especially Ms. Suhali for joining us today. And a very special thanks to all of you for making this session a success with your presence here. Thank you, and see you again in another exciting session.
Thank you, Pratap. I think it's really a privilege. It's a privilege.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank
Great
you.
privilege.
Thank you. Thank you, Silly. Thank you, Gadis. Thank you,
you.
Oli. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Stay safe, everyone.